All right, everyone, we are going to go ahead and get started. My name is Lindsay Barbeau, and I actually work at Marquette University, but tonight I am helping to facilitate this amazing session on TCU. So on behalf of WACAC, which is the Wisconsin Association for College Admissions Counseling, and StriveScan, we are so excited that you joined us. I do have a couple just housekeeping notes before I pass it off to our rep. So first and foremost, if you would like to kind of make this a little bit more interactive and get your questions answered, there is a Q&A function typically at the bottom of your screen. So that's a great way to communicate with our presenter. Also, because this is a webinar feature, your camera and microphones are off. So again, if you would like to communicate with our rep, you are going to have to use that Q&A session or Q&A feature. And then if you are looking to sign up for additional sessions or want to learn more, you can do that on the WACAC website, so wacac.com. And that's also where we will post this recording. So if you weren't able to make it to us, make it with us live, we certainly will have that recording for you, which should be available also at wacac.com in the foreseeable future. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it off to Jill, so Jill can go ahead and share her screen, and I hope you enjoy the session and learn a lot.
Hi everybody, my name is Jill Countryman and I am an admission counselor with Texas Christian University. I really appreciate you taking time on your Monday night to tune in to hear a little bit more about the Horned Frogs of Texas Christian University. Since it's just me here tonight to answer your questions, what I would like to remind you, as the moderator did, anytime that you have a question, please go ahead and type it into the Q&A located toward the bottom of your screen. I will need to pull out my purple cat eye TCU glasses to read your questions. So if I don't get to your question right away, please know that I will get to it eventually. So I think I'm going to wait for just a few more seconds to make sure we've got everybody logged on. And again, any questions that you have tonight during our session, type it into the Q&A, and we have about 42 minutes together with one another tonight. All right. Okay, my slides are not moving right now, so I think I might have to stop sharing my screen and readjust here. So I apologize about that. Okay, can everybody see my screen now? I hope so. As I said, my name is Jill Countryman. I am a regional admission counselor with TCU.
Jill, really quick, we can't see your screen. Do you mind just clicking that share button and sharing it again?
Okay, sure. Hang on just a second here.
Not a problem.
All right. Yeah, I'm not too sure why it's not doing it, but let's see if we can get this going. Okay. There we go. I think we've got it. Yay. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that so much. So I'm Jill. I'm the regional admission counselor from Texas Christian University. I am regional. I live in the Chicago suburbs, and so I do work with students in Wisconsin and 6 other states. Please make note of my name, and if you have any questions during this year, or if you're a high school junior and you have questions next year, I'm the only Jill in the admission office, and I'm always happy to answer your questions. I want to start off talking a little bit about our middle name at TCU, Texas Christian University. Texas Christian University means that we are affiliated with the Disciples of Christ denomination, or the DOC. The nickname for the DOC is the Christian Church, kind of like, you know, the Lutheran Church. You know, the various versions of the Lutheran Church are nicknamed Lutheran, and the various variations of Methodist Church are nicknamed Methodist. We're the Christian Church. We have over 60 different religious groups on our campus, though, faiths represented. There's one religion class that is required within your time at TCU, and we have over 25 different student religious groups on campus. So we have students who are Jewish, we have students who might be agnostic, we certainly have students who are Catholic. It's actually our largest group of students for those students who've self-disclosed what their religious background is at TCU. So TCU welcomes all. The one religion class, as I said, is part of the core curriculum for TCU. If you want to take more religion classes than that, that's fantastic. You could maybe major or double major with religion. We also have a minor in religious studies. We also have the Bright Divinity School. So if you're really into religion and would like to go on and make that your career, you could become an ordained minister through TCU later on as well. A little bit more about our university. We're medium sized, so we have under 9,500 undergraduate students. When it comes to graduate students, we only have slightly more than 1,000. And so, you know, more than 90% of our students are 18 through 22 years of age working on that bachelor's degree. I think it's very vibrant on our campus because students are roughly about the same age. For every 13 full-time students at TCU, we have one full-time faculty member. So there's a lot of individualized attention at our university. We have students from all 52 states. So I mentioned the 7 states that I cover for TCU, but we have students from more states and territories than that. And students from 87 different countries attend TCU as well. When it's a typical year and we're in classrooms, this year about 40% of our classes are in person this semester and 60% are online due to the pandemic. But in a typical year, our average students in the classroom or classroom size is about 27 students in the room. We have a great retention rate from freshman to sophomore year and beyond. The rate for freshman to sophomore year is 91%. It's actually a little closer to 92%. And we find that as a great stamp of approval. It means that the admission office and the admission counselors like me are doing a great job finding the best fit of students for TCU. And it means once our students are at TCU, they're having a great experience. And their parents are really supporting them, knowing that they're having a great experience. So 91% of our students come on back for their second year, and then so on and so forth. We like to talk about fun things at the university. Not that academics and religion and all of those things aren't fun, but one of the special things about TCU is even though we're medium sized, we kind of have a small school charm. If you look at the graph up on the screen, we're a member of the Big 12 Athletic Conference at TCU. And there are 10 members in the Big 12 currently. And if you look at this list, you'll see tiny little TCU in the purple all the way at the end. And then all of the other schools are much bigger, all the way up to the burnt orange. I bet you can probably guess which school that is. They're in Texas. I'll give you that hint. But we love the charm of being the smallest. We love getting on the field knowing that we are the David versus Goliath. And our students are able to get in free to all of the home athletic events at TCU, including this year, knock on wood, we're going to be playing college football this year, and our students will be in the stands. Although other people, like season ticket holders like me, many of us won't be able to join this year because of the COVID restrictions, but there will be TCU football on TV this year and on our campus. In addition to Division I athletics, we have some big time, kind of big school resources at the university. We have a very active research program at the university where students who are undergraduates can be really involved with that, either with their own research studies or joining existing research studies. We also have a great opportunity for internships. Some of those internships are on our campus and some of them are off campus. You work with career services and that staff to get those internships. And most of our students do have some type of internship before they leave TCU. Another great thing about TCU, even though we're medium-sized with that small school charm, we have kind of the pocketbook, if you will, of a larger school. TCU has saved money through the years, and if ever there was a time to boast that, it is this year. The university just took out $50 million from our endowment, meaning kind of our savings account, if you will, and added that to our accounts for more financial aid and scholarships for students this year, because we know families were greatly impacted by the pandemic. And so TCU does a great job of saving through the years. Let's talk about academics. That's the most important reason, for you to join tonight, to hear more about what we offer. We have over 130 different majors at the university. Regardless of which major you might be interested, or if you're a counselor who's joining us tonight, any of the majors that your various students are interested in, all of them, regardless of their major, are going to start with the TCU Foundation, that core curriculum. In the core curriculum, about 1/3 of a student's total credit hours during their 4 years at TCU will be part of this liberal arts curriculum, the core curriculum. And so students are going to take thematic classes. One is about essential competencies. One is about human experiences. One is focused more on heritage and values. And again, students from all majors will take this course. Remember that one religion course that I mentioned was required? That is part of the core curriculum at TCU. It gives you that great firm foundation on which to build your other classes. And the great thing about our core curriculum is that if you're taking a class to fulfill the core curriculum, and by the way, it also counts as a class toward your major and your minor, we allow you to kind of triple dip, if you will, because we want you to graduate in 4 years at TCU. All right, we have 8 different colleges and schools at the university. The Neely School of Business is showing up first on my slide today. That is our largest college at the university. It doesn't mean it's the best. That's kind of like asking me as a mother, like, which one of my kids is my favorite. We don't have favorites, but the most students at TCU, the highest number of them, have identified business as their major. The Neely School of Business is a top 30 undergraduate program. It's a very strong MBA program as well. And after that, we have the Adrian College of Liberal Arts. That college, our liberal arts college, has the distinction of offering the most number of majors within that college. So within that college, you'll find things like history and English and I'm trying to think of another one, math. So those are the programs, those and other programs in the Adrian College. Our College of Science and Engineering will have majors such as engineering, of course, actuarial science, computer science, and many others. And then the Harris College of Nursing and Health Sciences boasts our wonderful nursing program. It is a great nursing program at TCU. Our NCLEX pass rate, which is the standard for nurses, and it's their kind of board exam, if you will. We have the highest pass rate on the first attempt in the state of Texas, and it's much higher than the national pass rate. So it's a great school. Next, we have the Bob Schieffer College of Communication. This college is named for our great alumnus named Bob Schieffer. Bob Schieffer has the distinction of having moderated like 4 presidential debates over the years, for different elections. He was also host of CBS's Face the Nation political talk show. He's still alive. He's living in Washington, D.C., also has a home in Fort Worth where we're located, and is really involved with master classes and helping mentor our students when they're in Washington, D.C. for internships or learning opportunities. Next is our College of Education. It is phenomenal. I know I feel like I'm really pumping up all of our majors here, but truly the College of Education is really special. TCU is the only university university in the United States with 2 lab schools for children with special needs. We have Kinderfrogs. Kinderfrogs is the first lab school. Kinderfrogs is designed for students who are born with Down syndrome. So the kids in Kinderfrogs are between 18 months of age, so they're like little toddlers, 18 months all the way up to 6 years of age. Children with Down syndrome need extra help to learn to use their verbal skills. So many of them are beginning life learning sign language so that they can communicate with their families. In addition to Kinderfrogs, our other lab school for children with special needs is called Starpoint. Starpoint is a kindergarten through 8th grade school for children with special needs, anything from dyslexia, autism spectrum, just learning differences, severe stuttering, epilepsy, different things. So along with Kinderfrogs, 2 great lab schools for our students to get their observation hours in and to really help them determine what direction they would like to take their career in education. Next up is our College of Fine Arts. And TCU does a great job with this. As I said, all of our athletic events are free and open to our students on campus. Our fine arts events are as well. In addition to theater and musical theater, vocal music, and instrumental music, we also have ballet and modern dance. We're an all Steinway piano school, so if you know anybody who's a musician, that will really mean something to them, that every piano on our campus, including the player piano in the admission office and every piano in the practice rooms on our campus, are Steinway pianos. Speaking of music, we do offer any student who's in the TCU marching band, either as a musician or color guard or the majorettes or the drum majors, any student involved in our marching band experience earns a $3,000 stipend every fall semester. So it's a great way for students to connect while they're on campus. They get to move to campus early and they get a little bit of money to help pay for their college experience. Our last college that I'd like to talk about today, actually at last school that I'd like to talk about, is our newest school. It is the School of Interdisciplinary Studies. And within this school at the university, there's actually a major that allows you to create your own major. Now, we don't list this on the back of our admission brochure because it's not really for new students coming into TCU. But once a student is at TCU and they've kind of experimented with a few, different academic areas that they think they are falling in love with, it does allow a student to create their own interdisciplinary major at that time. We have one more college, and it's a college that any student might choose to be part of. It's the John V. Roach Honors College. The way that Honors College selection works at TCU is that it's open to any student, meaning you can apply for it. So this year, seniors, when you apply to the university, after your application has been received and is complete, we will send you an email that says, hey, are you interested in TCU's Honors College? And if you choose yes, you click on that and it's going to take you to a personalized link for you to read more about that application process. Our faculty within the Honors College are going to be reading 2 separate essays that you would write with your application for the Honors College. The faculty will then be reading them blindly. They're not going to know your name, they're not going to know your hometown, they're not going to know your GPA, unless I guess if you maybe wrote your honors essay about your GPA, they're not even going to know your gender unless you reference it in one of your essays. But they're going to read your 2 essays for the Honors College, along with every other student who's decided to take that extra step and apply for the Honors College. And then they're going to score those. So the Honors College faculty are the decision makers, they're the gatekeepers about which students are able to enter into the Honors College or not. If you receive that invitation, certainly you may say, yes, sign me up, I want to go into the Honors College. If you're invited, you have until May 1st to let us know if you'd like to come to TCU, but also if you'd like to be part of the Honors College. Now, if you're a student who decided not to apply for the Honors College, during the application process, or maybe you were invited but decided to decline at the time because you didn't want to be overwhelmed maybe, you do have another opportunity to be invited into the Honors College. So if you're a current TCU student, as long as you have 12 credit hours at TCU or more, and you have a GPA at TCU of 3.5 or higher, you can then just walk on over to Scarborough Hall into the Honors College office and say, here are my grades. I'd like to be part of the Honors College at this point. So John V. Roach Honors College is a great addition to the university. It's been at TCU for, I think, a little over 10 years now, but it's a great option for students, and there are a couple of different ways that you can gain entry into the Honors College. Next, I'd like to talk about the admission process. I know it's still August, but our first deadline will be here before you know it. So let me take you through and look at the different steps that are involved. I'm going to check Q&A right now and see if there's anybody who has a question. No questions yet, so either I have bored everyone or no one truly has questions at this point in time. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so here's the timeline for admission to TCU for this year. Our application opened up August 1st. Some of you may have already completed the application. You're really organized. Other people may not submit the application until the deadline, which is midnight on November 1st. I really hope that more of you are organized than last minute people, because that'll just make your life easier and easier for the people, the little elves of us who are people who work in the admission office. So our first deadline, November 1st. You have two options for November 1st. You can choose to apply early action, which is non-binding, or early decision, which involves a contract that you sign, your parents sign, your high school counselor signs, and that tells us, hey, admission committee, if I'm admitted early decision, I'm signing this contract. I promise if I'm admitted, I will attend TCU. So those are the two options. We do not have a rolling notification. It's really important to know that. All of the colleges that you're applying to will have different deadlines, and they're also going to have different notification timetables, or timelines rather. So at TCU, if you apply early decision, which is contract binding, what we're going to do is send you your decision. Well, the admission committee is going to post your decision within that first week of December. So that first week of December, the only applicants who will get a decision are those who applied early decision with contract. For those students, and the vast majority of students applying to TCU choose early action non-binding. Those students applying for early action are not going to find out until later in December. We tell students that we promise a decision by December 31st, but I've been at TCU for 15 years, and I can honestly say that the last 5 years, we've been sending out, or actually now posting, those decisions around December 15th, 16th, somewhere mid-December. So please make sure that you remember that, because other schools are going to notify you at different times, but ours, we hold them and post them on the same day, for early decision and then early action. Let's say that fall is really extra crazy for you. I mean, crazy beyond the pandemic. Just there's something going on in your family, or you broke your leg and it's taking all of your energy to just do your classes for high school online. It's okay to apply for a February 1st deadline. Everything would be due by February 1st, midnight. And then if everything's complete, we're going to give you or post your decision before April 1st. Typically, we say, April 1st, meaning the end of March. Typically, it's right before that last week of March. I know for a lot of students in Wisconsin and Illinois, typically you find out your decision typically right before you go on your spring break. So that's the timeline for that. I'm trying to think. Oh, if you apply November 2nd and everything's complete, you're going to bump to that February 1st deadline. So there's a huge difference between getting your decision, the middle of December and that last week in March. So if at possible, try to get your application in for November 1st. And then May 1st is the national candidate reply date. So all students except for those who applied early decision can let TCU know before midnight if they're choosing TCU back. Because we've chosen you, because we've admitted you, we just need to know if you're going to take us up on that offer. It's important to let colleges know your final decision because of wait lists that we have in place so that we can allow other students to take those spots. All right, speaking of applications, I don't know if I'm excited to announce this or I'm nervous to announce this, but TCU has 4 different applications that we allow our students to use to apply. We have the TCU application, which lives on our website and always has, as long as we've had websites at TCU, I guess. Also the common application. The majority of students who apply to TCU will choose the TCU application or the common application. However, we also accept Apply Texas. A lot of Texas students will choose Apply Texas. For those of you who are like, what in the world is Apply Texas? I've never heard of this thing. Apply Texas is kind of like a common application, but just for schools located in the state of Texas. It used to be the public schools in Texas, but about 14 years ago, they allowed the private universities like TCU located in the state of Texas to join that application. So that's okay too. And brand new for this year for TCU, we are dipping our toe into the water of the coalition application. I have no cute stories to offer about the coalition application. I have no jokes. I have no advice. This is our first year with the coalition application. So 4 different applications. And if you're a person who likes to do this, take a picture of a screen to save it, all 4 of these applications, you can find the link to them at this link, admissions.tcu.edu/apply. All right, so I've told you how to apply to the university, which, how many applications you could use to apply to the university. Now we need to talk about what does the admission committee take a look at. Obviously, academics is going to be the biggest part of what the admission committee takes into consideration. Academics means, they're going to look at not only just your GPA, we look at an unweighted GPA, but we're also looking at your grade patterns. If you had a rocky start to freshman year because maybe throughout the rest of your life, you never really had to study, it came really naturally to you, and then boom, you're in high school and a couple of the subjects were a little tough for you to kind of get in step with. So we're going to be looking for growth over time. We're also going to be looking at the rigor of your curriculum. We do not, I repeat, do not expect students to take 12 AP classes. Now, some students are designed and prefer and are able to and ready for 12 AP classes during their high school experience. Other students might be ready for an honors class by the time they get to be a senior. Some students might end up with 3 honors classes and 2 AP classes. It is not a race. It is really truly for you to choose what classes are challenging for you, but not too challenging for you, if you catch my drift. So we're going to take a look at all of those academic things. Co-curricular means those things that you've listed on the application. I think there's 10 spots on most applications for you to list things. Please do a great job. Not just don't list band. I want to know, like, were you in the marching band? Were you in the jazz band? Were you a section leader? How many years were you in band? I want to know all about band, or at least as much as you can fit into those lines on the application. Same thing, if you're a Boy Scout, just don't write Boy Scouts. Tell me what you've done with Boy Scouts. Are you working on your Eagle Scout project? What's the anticipated finish date for that? Same thing with Girl Scouts. Let me know more about that. Just don't put 2 words on your list of activities. Now, some students like to send kind of a resume or an extra list of activities. That's absolutely fine. Anything additional that you'd like to send with your application, you can send to our general email address, which is frogmail frogmail@tcu.edu. And just make sure to put your name and your date of birth in the subject line, and we'll link whatever you send us to your regular application. So we're looking at those activities. We're also going to be looking at the essay. It's really important to put some time into your essay. You guys are going to laugh, but every year I read essays where the student has used a lowercase I for the pronoun I throughout the entire essay. And you know, at first I think, oh dear, they have a typo. And then I read more sentences and more paragraphs, and it's just consistent throughout the whole thing. And then I wonder, did they write their essay like on their cell phone and hit send? Please take time for your essay. Also, make sure that your essay is really showing us something about you. Give it a little depth. And most important, please make sure that your essay is in your own voice. If I've met with you at your high school or talked with you on the phone and you're a person who's, you know, pretty simplistic with your word choices, and then I read your essay and it's full of words that I need to use, you know, a dictionary or a thesaurus to kind of look up the meaning for, you know, those things don't really match up. So take time with your essay, make sure it's in your own language, and do something that shows us a little bit more about you. We're also going to be looking at the teacher and counselor recommendations. We ask for at least one teacher recommendation. We don't need 14 teacher recommendations. And this year, really, 13 extra teachers do not need to write your recommendations. They really have their hands full this year. So one teacher recommendation, maybe two, maybe three, no more than that. Save their time. Be polite when you ask for their recommendations. So that's kind of what the admission committee is going to look at this year. In previous years, we did ask for an ACT or SAT score. This year, given the pandemic and the difficulty that students have had in finding test centers that are open, just the huge challenge that's going on with that and that anxiety that comes about from that, we've decided to be test optional for this year. So I don't know about future years, but for students applying this year to begin TCU fall 2021, we are test optional. Now, I know that probably brings up a lot of questions that you might be having. So here's a link, again, if you're one of those people that likes to take your phone and you know, take a screenshot picture, this would be a great one. Or just remember to go onto the tcu.edu website and type in test optional. And one of the things that'll pop up is probably a video or a vlog that our Dean of Admission just put on there a few days ago. He does a great job answering frequently asked questions. I took some notes earlier today. Let's see if I can find my notes here. One of the things that he mentions is that with test optional, our idea is really do no harm. So if a student submits their test scores, and when the admission committee is reviewing things, if the admission committee is thinking like, oh my gosh, they submitted their test scores really are not doing justice for them, we're going to just not look at them. Some students want us to look at their test scores, and they really want us to look at their test scores because maybe they add a little, you know, more texture to their application. So you can choose to have us look at your test scores or not. It's completely optional. If you apply and you're admitted and then you find out you're able to take the December ACT and you didn't think you might be able to take it, it's okay if you want to, even if you've been admitted to TCU, but you're really proud of those December scores, you could always go ahead, send them to us or self-report them, and then maybe the scholarship committee could take a look at them. So this year, you are in control if we take a look at your test scores or not. I wanted to show you kind of where students were at who applied last year and who were admitted to the university. So again, if you're just entering the session right now, we are test optional for our fall 2021 applicants. This slide is really just showing you what the middle 50% was last year for students who applied to TCU and who were admitted. So last year, the middle 50% for the ACT, and this is super scored because we do super score at TCU. It was a 26 to a 31 last year. Last year, for students who submitted the SAT and were admitted, the SAT middle 50% last year was an 1150 to a 1340. Why am I showing you this information? Some students find it might be a little more helpful for them to know and kind of confirm for them if they want to send their scores in or not. Again, that's completely up to you. I listed my email address earlier. I'm going to list it at the end. If you have questions and you don't know what to do, I can't make that decision for you, but I'm happy to have a dialogue with you through email or phone and answer your questions. We're really trying to take as much anxiety out of the process as we can. Now, if you're a really superb student with strong, really strong grades, and you've taken really challenging classes, and you only took the ACT or SAT once, but you scored really, really well, you might want to submit it because for those the top scholarship at TCU, it might be helpful. But again, email me. I'm really happy to kind of walk you through this. Check out the vlog about test optional and let me know what your questions are. All right, I don't know if you have any students who are thinking about transferring to TCU, but I also like to include this slide for students who apply to TCU and who are not admitted. It only takes 12 credit hours after high school with a GPA of 2.7 to apply as a transfer student into the university. There are some majors where it requires more than that. Business is one of those major areas, and then also our nursing program. But if you're not admitted to TCU this year, it just doesn't work out, we would love to have students apply as a transfer student. And again, 12 credit hours after their high school experience. All right, time to talk about cost. Not the favorite thing to talk about, but I'm okay talking about cost about TCU because having been working at TCU for 15 years, I know that our students are really taken care of. I know that our residence halls are ranked #3 in the nation by Princeton Review. I know that our oldest residence hall, the oldest one, was built in 2007. Our residence halls are really great. And the way that we're able to get the money for those residence halls and to maintain them are through that very large endowment that I talked about earlier, from our alums donating money to us and the university investing very wisely, but also our tuition costs are able to help us maintain the great campus that we have, and that 13-to-1 student to teacher ratio as well. So for students attending TCU this year, currently during the pandemic, tuition and fees, $51,660. Room and board are going to run you typically about $14,000, I think, if I've done my math correctly. Books, you're not billed for books, that would be an extra cost, but we like to hold like $900 into that. So the total cost for this year's students with books included is $66,600. Now, obviously, if a student has a single room, their rate's going to be a little higher because their residence hall fee will be a little bit higher. But this is where we're at this year. I know that they did announce that this next year we're only be increasing tuition, I believe 3%, maybe 4%. The last few years it's been closer to 8%. So we're trying to cut back a little bit about that at TCU. All right, for those of you who will be filing for financial aid, please know we need two forms at TCU, the FAFSA, which every college requires, and then also TCU requires the CSS profile. So the CSS profile, you have to register through the College Board for that. There is a $25 fee for each school that you send that data to. At TCU, if you end up matriculating or coming to TCU after you've been admitted, we do credit your fall bill, that $25, which isn't a lot. But we do, we're asking students to spend money to file that. So I do want to let you know that we really try to make it up to you in the end. I don't think any of you are students living in the state of Texas tonight, but for those students living in the state of Texas who do not qualify to fill out the federal financial aid form, Texas has their own form called the TASPA. You probably didn't need to know that, but since it's up on the screen, I wanted to let you know kind of what it is so you knew you weren't missing anything. All right, career services. We already talked about how we are able to have that big school feeling by having our students have so many different internships. If you look at the center of this slide, 1,528 interviews were conducted on our campus last year. We have 9,000, less than 9,000, 500 students at the university. These were not the interviews where a student drove someplace to interview, or the company they were interviewing for flew them out to Washington, D.C. to interview. These are just the interviews that happened on our campus. So we really do our very best to make sure that students have those opportunities. We have money that we've saved to give to students who are taking internships where there's no money. It's an unpaid internship. We have grant money available for those students. Let's see, and our career services was ranked number 8 in the country last year by the Princeton Review. Moving forward, I think you guys know by now we're located in Fort Worth, Texas. Fort Worth is bigger than Milwaukee, bigger than Madison, not as big as Chicago, about the same size as Indianapolis. So it's a sizable city. It's the 13th largest city in the US. Forbes ranks it as the top city for job seekers, and it also has the distinction of best downtown in America. So hopefully when you're able to come visit TCU, you can take a look around Fort Worth. I'm going to check to see if anybody has Q&A before I end the session today. You guys are great. I hope somebody showed up for this session. I hope I've not bored anybody. And again, just because this session is ending in a few minutes, it does not mean that you can't contact me, with more questions. Again, my name is Jill Countryman. I've been at TCU for 15 years. I live in the Chicago suburbs and work with students in 7 states, including Wisconsin. I am setting up virtual high school visits at as many high schools as I can. And so check with your school. I don't know if they use Naviance. If you are on our mailing list, which I hope you are, we will send you an email to remind you if I have set up a virtual visit with your high school. If not, we have a lot of different things that you can do virtually to learn more about TCU this year. This is going to be my only session that's sponsored through the Wisconsin Association of College Admission Counselors. But again, you can tune in for different things. And in fact, I want to do a little commercial. Go through the schedule for other things that are coming up tomorrow and the next day and the following weeks for the WACAC or the Wisconsin ACAC college virtual sessions. There's a lot of great stuff out there. Today was the first day, but sign up for as many things as you think you would be interested in. It's a great way to get more knowledge. Again, if you have any questions after the session, you can email me at j.countryman@tcu.edu, or our general email address, which is frog, F-R-O-G, mail, M-A-I-L, @tcu.edu. Thanks, you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Jill. We did have a couple people join us, so hopefully it was really, really great information. I'm really quick going to share my screen just one more time. And if you have any questions for Jill, please feel free to contact her. She'll also get your contact information through this program. But this kind of concludes our session on TCU. So as you close out of the Zoom window, there will be a quick 4-question survey. So we really, really recommend filling out that survey. It's very helpful for us as we plan events like this and move forward. And then just a reminder that you can sign up for more sessions or view recordings of these sessions at wacac.com. So WACAC.com. Otherwise, we hope you enjoy your evening and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys.